Hey everyone, guess who's back? It's Kamish back here with another draft preview. And this time I got a guy that really did his best to try to get the tier one. Things were looking great. And it just goes to show you in the fantasy world, life can be cruel. Today we're featuring Scottish Highlanders, and we'll get into his preview to talk about how he set himself up and then how life can be cruel in the fantasy world. I'll share my screen now, and we'll just get right into it. So here we are, Scottish Highlanders. I'll go back. Here we go. So yes, Scooter Ray 96. Here we go. Looking at the keepers, I think the keepers are okay, and we'll get into why they're just okay. So the running back, you got Brees Hall. Let's face it, he's going to be featured heavily in that New York offense for obvious reasons. But the only thing that concerns me, obviously, with New York is the simple fact that they could be behind in a lot of games. And if they're behind in a lot of games, maybe that opens up more targets for people like Isaiah Davis or even, well, I wouldn't go so much Braylon Allen, but it'll be a lot of maybe garbage time yards for the running back because they'll be behind, right? Unless Geno Smith becomes, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago version of Geno Smith in Seattle. So that obviously is going to remain to be seen. Again, I think the wide receiver group in New York is still pretty weak. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then you got a trio here of wide receivers who I think are pretty good. And we'll talk about, how that could be boom or bust for you later on. But a lot of young talent here, right? You got Emeka Buka heading into his second year. Guy started off really hot in his rookie year and kind of trailed off a bit. No Mike Evans now, though, right? So you got to think that could help Emeka. Could help him as the years go on, too, because Godwin's not getting any younger. I know Jalen McMillan's there, but I think he's more of a slot guy. Zay Flowers, they brought in a couple of wide receivers in Baltimore. I think the reason being they don't want to pay Zay Flowers. It'll have to be interesting to see how Baltimore operates that offense now with change of the guard there. So I think Zay Flowers is more he can get you some big yards, right? Like on one catch, maybe 50 yards, but then I always found he's just not that consistent at times. And that's because of that passing offense in Baltimore. Lad McConkey had a bit of I guess you could say sophomore slump last year. Part of that was because they did bring Keenan Allen in. The other part of it was Quentin Johnston's emergence. Keenan Allen's gone, at least for the time being. So we'll have to see if Lad McConkey's volume picks up a little bit. That was part of it. In his rookie year, he got a lot of volume, and then the volume really trailed off in year two. So we'll have to see if he can get some of that volume back. Tight end, you're going with second year tight end Tyler Warren. So I will give you this, Scooter Ray, Scottish Highlanders. You got a young team, right? So even if things don't go so well for you this year, you definitely have a lineup here that could continue to succeed as the years go on. And then at IDP, I think you're going to have a tackling machine here in Zach Bond. I'm going to do a bold prediction right now. I think the Eagles struggle this year. AJ Brown's gone. Jalen Hurts isn't that great, and I have a feeling Saquon goes down. And if Saquon goes down, Eagles are screwed. Okay, and I have a feeling that is going to happen. And it might mean that the Eagles' defense is on the field more often, which of course would lead to more points for Zach Bond. Looking at last year, there you see the headline, right? Perfect season became the perfect disaster. A 14-0 regular season doesn't get much better than that, obviously. And you beat some good teams along the way. I'm pretty sure you beat me along the way as well. I eventually made the finals. You lost in the first round, and it wasn't even close, actually. You lost by like 60 points in the first round. Your team decided to lay a goose egg, or like a dud, I guess I should say, at the worst possible time. And, I love what you did to prepare to try to get to tier one. I think you're a tier one quality owner, to be honest. But this is the cruel nature of fantasy football. and the perfect season became the perfect disaster. Looking at your pick scenario, I like what you've done here, right? You got the first rounds there, so you got the pick 11. You were able to acquire some picks back, three of them from original Camille, one from Bishop, and it's put you in a position here where really I think you're in decent shape this year. So most people, when they go all in like you did last year, they run into a pick scenario where it's like, oh, it's not going to be a good year, right? I might be dropping this year kind of thing. But you did the right thing. You were involved in the off season. The good owners in the LOC family are involved. They're active. You can't win in this league unless you're active, folks. Um, I don't even know why you would even play if you weren't active in this format. It's so deep. You have to be on the waiver wire. You got to be making trades. And Scooter Ray, I give you all the credit, and I love having you in this league. I'm not going to lie. You're a great owner. You got the three picks in round six. You could literally pick three linebackers right there, three starters maybe. Who knows? You could go. Yeah, I mean that's what I love about having three picks in the same round. You could load up on one position. I've always liked that as part of my strategy personally. I also like the fact that you picked him first in the second round, so you could almost consider that another first round pick. You got the no pick in round 13, but things are spread out quite nicely for you, and I think you've done an excellent job in the offseason here to be competitive again this year, which I absolutely love. Looking at your likely first pick, well, you're only keeping the one running back, right? So I think you're likely going to go running back, right? Running backs are a premium in this league. Again, the projected pick, this is according to Sleeper's ADP. This is not how I think things are going to go, just so everyone's aware. But according to Sleeper, you may go rookie with Makai Lemon, or you go with a couple of running backs like Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle. I might be surprised to see those two running backs still there at pick 11, to be honest. There's not much left in terms of running back talent, but if they're there, I think you hop on them for sure. All right, the outlook and the storylines for you this year. Well, again, I already mentioned it. Great offseason coming out of a setup year. You set yourself up to try to get all the way in and try to move up. Didn't work out. You lost in the first round, but again, you made the trades to be competitive again this year. You're wide receiver heavy, young wide receiver heavy too. I think for you, this year is all about a wait and see on whether or not you're going to prep for the following year and load up, or if things go well, maybe you do another setup year, right? And that's what I love about what you've done in the offseason here. You've given yourself the option for another setup year, potentially, right? Which I think is pretty cool. The difference for success, the wide receivers could go either way. So they're young. Again, we talked about McConkey. We talked a bit about Flowers and Buka. I think it could go either way. If they boom, you could do very well this year. The difference for failure is the same as above, right? So if wide receivers go the other way, you could have a hard time. And I think that wait and see approach for you, if that's the way you do go this year, I think ultimately will determine if this is going to be a setup or prep year for you. I never did mention some other keepers that you could probably potentially keep, and I do that for every team, so I don't want to leave you out. Maybe Parker Washington, right? I think he could be a pretty decent wide receiver this year, according to the offseason reports as well. I definitely think, excuse me, Zach Bond was the guy to go with. Sorry, end of the day here. But yeah, I think you're going with the right keepers because you traded some keeper quality away to get the picks back. You knew what you had to do. As long as you keep five solid guys and you get your picks back, you'll be okay, right? I had to do this in tier one. I set up, tried to win it all. Fell short in the final, unfortunately. But now I had to trade some players just like you. Much harder to do that in tier one, by the way, just so you know. Because in tier one, that draft capital is harder to achieve and get because of the 20 teams. But you're doing the right thing here, Scooter A. And I just want to say, hey, you're a great owner. I think you're tier one quality and a couple more of these setup years. I wouldn't be surprised if we're calling your name to head up to the big leagues. Have a good year, man.